A mother struggles along snowy sidewalks. A woman tries to navigate busy roads in a wheelchair. And a trans woman feels unsafe waiting at a dimly lit bus stop. So what do all these have in common? They're all examples of gender inequality that many of us don't even know existed because we were looking at them through the wrong lens. Like trying to read a book with the wrong prescription. In order to see these inequalities for what they are, we need to look at them through a Gender Plus lens. A Gender Plus lens is a tool. It allows us to put on the right kind of glasses to see the unique challenges faced by women and marginalized genders. And I'm telling you, this inequality is compounded by race, class, age, ability, and sexual orientation. So while some of us are worried about snowplows getting our SUVs out of our driveways after a huge dump, there are mothers trying to push flimsy strollers 2 blocks down a snow-covered sidewalk to get to their bus. See what I mean? The truth is, very few things in society are gender neutral. Policies and services have different impacts on people based on aspects of their identity, including gender. Different women and gender diverse folks have different needs based on their roles and lived experiences, and they experience barriers, some of which have existed for as long as anyone remembers because that's just the way it was. Time for the reality check. Women still do much of the unpaid care work in our society. You know the old saying, a mother's work is never done? Well, if you're planning an event, a Gender Plus lens would help you figure out the best times for that event so mothers can actually attend. Maybe you include free transportation or childcare. Another example, paid care work, like in hospitals, care homes, and schools, is disproportionately done by women. So when governments decide to cut funding to these fields, women, and particularly racialized women, are impacted more than men. When we look at things through a Gender Plus lens and ask all the right questions, we're able to think about the different impacts of our decisions ahead of time so that we're supporting the well-being of everyone. At the Women's Center of Calgary, we care about the well-being of women. We address the barriers to their full participation in society and access to the resources they need. We use this tool within our organization, and we encourage others outside the center to use it as well. People like you. In our anti-poverty work, we ask, how does poverty impact different women specifically? How does it impact racialized women, Indigenous women, disabled women? What do they say needs to happen for them to experience stability, security, and well-being? The more we incorporate this tool into the fabric of our city, the easier it will be to build true gender equality. Here are 5 tips for applying a Gender Plus lens. 1, consider your context and your issue. Ask yourself, what is the issue we're trying to address? What do we know about it, and how does this relate to gender and diversity? 2, ask the big questions. What do you know about participation and representation? Who has more or less access to resources? Who often has the decision-making power? 3, check your assumptions. Who benefits? Whose point of view has named the problem or the solution? Have you assumed that different groups all have the same needs based on only one thing they have in common? For example, age or ability. 4, gather information. What data already exists that's separated by gender and other identity groups? If you're missing information, do your own research. Just make sure to apply the Gender Plus lens to the ways you gather information. 5, make suggestions based on what you now know. How can you address the barriers people are experiencing? How can you challenge harmful stereotypes? How can you take real action? Now, we've just dumped a lot of information on you. In our follow-up video, we're going to watch some examples and see how to apply a Gender Plus lens.